Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Hello, Business Radio X listeners. We are so glad to be here, Leadercast. And we have a wonderful guest with us today, Robin Mladinich, who is the director and executive coach for the Executive MBA Program at Georgia State University. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you are here. You guys are doing some fantastic things over at Georgia State. Before we got in here, we were talking about how diverse the whole campus is, and you guys are just like a huge university and all kinds of changes going on. And now, how long have you been with the Executive MBA program? And tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, sure. I've been with the Executive MBA program for 5 years now. This is my second go-around at Georgia State. I was previously with the Global Partners MBA for 8 years, so a total of 13. And I've spent a lot of time in higher education. So I've been at Georgia Tech and UGA, Georgia Perimeter, but I found my home back at Georgia State. And really, what I found I liked about it is just the things you said, the students, the diversity, the faculty, and all the great things that they're doing.
Yeah, super. We have seen the university grow over time, and just we were spending a lot of time talking to people there. So it is wonderful. You guys have a wonderful leadership program there and a women's group as well. Tell me, you've been in the business for a number of years, doing a lot of coaching, doing a lot of creating executive MBA programs and Leadership Academy and Global Partners. Tell me a little bit about some of those programs.
Okay, sure. I'll start very first with Global Partners, which I did back in 2004. And that was really a program for individuals that were early on in their career. So the average age in that program was about 29, and they spent time on 4 continents, studying and learning and doing an international internship. So it was really fascinating to watch their growth because they were very early on, and now to see what they're doing as far as their leadership, where they are now. And it's interesting because I just received 2 emails this week about those alums. One who is now the CEO of Women Who Code.
Wonderful.
And so she's really, it's a global nonprofit that inspires women to excel in technology careers. Mm-hmm. And then I heard about another one who was just on CNN Business for his company that he started, and he's gotten $36 million in investments. So it's great to see how they were very early on and where they are now based on, what they learned and did in the Global MBA program. And so while I was there, I really saw a need within the university to develop women. And so I got together with a couple of colleagues, and we looked at the issues that women face in higher education and, how do we promote them? How do we have succession planning for women? So our colleagues and I, we built a Leadership Academy. It's a year-long program. Women who were assistant director level or above would apply, and they completed the year-long program, meeting once a month to talk about different leadership topics. And the very end, it culminated with them doing a project for the university.
Oh, that's great.
The provost loved it, and she's been supporting it ever since, and that was in 2012.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the program is still going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, how super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with EMBA, that's just kind of the epitome of what we're doing with leadership, because if you look at, these people are about average age 40, 15 years of work experience, really looking at excelling in their careers. And what we do with the EMBA program, yes, you can teach people across all the functions of business and looking at strategy, but if we're not teaching them to be, strong leaders, what good is that? You want them to be able to lead an organization and to be successful. So when I came in, I wanted to make sure that we had this emphasis on executive leadership development.
That is super. That is great, because you're so right. It is really important that we not just get the technical knowledge, but we get the leadership as well. When thinking about that, then what have you seen as the biggest challenge in developing leaders, and how have you incorporated or changed anything with the Executive MBA program, given over the years you've seen the change?
Yeah, I think some of the challenges leaders are really facing today are, working in a multi-generational workforce and a very diverse workforce. So people with different needs, and how do you, manage and lead in that environment? And I think leading, we're all working on teams. So how are you building your team, managing your team, leading your team, and developing them as well? So what we have done is really have our students, when they come in, do a 360. So let's evaluate where you're, those leadership competencies that you're doing really well, that are enhancing your leadership effectiveness, and then looking at those reactive tendencies that are limiting your effectiveness. And then I put every student with a leadership coach, and they take that, the results of their 360, and build an individual leadership plan for themselves.
I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. And, of course, it's expensive. And so we provide 6 hours of coaching. And you always, you often think, okay, is this enough? Is this going to help get them to that level? And I was pleasantly shocked and surprised that it does work, because we have a big group debrief at the end to see, what their leadership coaching has done for them. And as a business school, I have to ask, what's the ROI of this leadership coaching? And so I want a number. And one student told me it was worth a couple $1 million a year because he doesn't live in fear anymore. And someone else mentioned, it's priceless because the way I was leading was affecting my health. So, it's such a great, I think they come through this program transformed because of what we're doing in leadership development. So not only with the leadership coaching, but we have leadership courses that they take throughout the program.
Yeah, I am very happy to hear that the emphasis is so balanced between the technical and the leadership, because there is no replacement for the leadership. And, we see this all the time. And, when I was in the Executive MBA program, it was a lot of emphasis on getting to work, but not as much as I would have liked to after you get out and see what you have to deal with, and how do you deal with teams and get things done. Right now is the one time in our lives that we're seeing so many generations in the workforce at one time, and it's really interesting how to collaborate and work with so many people, and how do you lead from all levels. When you think about the changes that you've seen and you have made in the Executive MBA program, what differences are you seeing between how women are approaching the leadership, and what are some of the differences that you see versus men, or do you see any at all?
Absolutely, lots of differences, and we speak about this often with the women in the program, because we have some extra resources for our women in terms of development. Because as much as I like to think things have changed, they still are battling. For instance, I have a woman coming in who has, all these qualifications for a position, but not applying because she didn't have every single one. Whereas the men will come in and be like, oh, I have 2 of these, I can do this.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think it's around building that confidence. And then the other piece to that is around voice. And I think, women, are often not feeling like they have the voice. So particularly in EMBA programs, traditionally they've been very male-oriented, and they still are, but it's getting better. We're up to around 40% now with females in our program,
good.
Which is great. But there's times when you're just in a team and it's all men and 1 female. So how do you make sure you have that voice? And I think it's just the different roles and expectations between men and women that still exist.
So when you think about the future of leadership and what Georgia State is doing with its Executive MBA program, what are some of the other changes given the feedback as we are growing to have more women in doing Executive MBA and not being afraid of it? And so there at some point we're expecting, 50-50, whatever the case is. But how do you think there'll be any changes? And can you talk a little bit about some specific courses or changes that you see coming for the Executive MBA program?
As they pertain to women? Yeah. So what I have is we have an EMBA alumni board, and within that board, we have a women's networking group. So what we do is try to plan events 4 times a year that are focused on women's issues. And we have the students and alums attend that, and they're always, big events. We try to support women by sending them to different events like the Leadercast women's event and other women's events in the area to make sure that, they're being heard. And as far as kind of the leading in the teams, we provide a leadership coach, a team coach for each of the teams. So they can, have someone to kind of bounce ideas off of and work with the teams in managing how you're leading a team.
Yeah, someone to sort of observe. That is excellent, and give feedback right away.
Yes.
That is excellent. So you've been around developing programs and leadership and professionals. It's your passion, you just sort of exude that. That is so super. Tell me about, do you do some personal mentoring of people? And tell us a little bit about what you do and some of the success stories.
Okay, great. Yes, I got certified as a leadership coach a couple years ago because I just love it and, the passion I have for it. And so I've taken that on different levels. So I've served as a mentor with a women's mentor program at Georgia State. So I typically take on one each year. And I created a leadership exchange program for our EMBA students. So I match them based on, what their needs are, what they're looking for with another, we call it a partner because sometimes they might be at the same level, but for getting through the program. So they're either with another EMBA student or alum, and I work with them. I also serve as a coach for our students. So I take a portion of the students to do their leadership plan and leadership coaching.
Yeah, that's got to be rewarding because sometimes as a mentor, we learn as much from the mentee as we give to them. And it's especially young people. And that's just really, really special. One of the things that we are doing in Leadercast this year for our Leadercast Women event, which is Friday, October 18th, is that we're going to, on the front end, have a men's session that's going to be led by Jeffrey Halter, who's the president of Why Women. He does a fabulous job of helping people understand why women are important in the workforce, in the leadership, by the numbers, how good companies that have women on their boards, et cetera, do better. One of the things that what he's going to be doing in his session is talking about the journey from awareness, where men are aware, then being an ally and being an advocate. As you think about what we are doing, which is we're trying to come together and helping men support more women in the workforce, and I know that you see that even in the Executive MBA program because the majority are men. When you think about that, how do you think making men more aware, making them move from being just being aware to being an advocate, how do you think that's going to change not only in the workforce, but even in the classroom?
Yeah, I think that's vitally important because we do all these kind of women development programs, but you're missing a key piece to the audience. And, men simply, and we hear this in the classroom when, the females are, not feeling heard or this type of thing. It's because most of the time men are just they're not even aware that they don't know the issues that women face. And I think communication is so important to even get those conversations going so that, they are aware of the issues that women face and are able to, support women and serve as an ally.
Absolutely. Yeah. Excuse me. One of the things that I know is that Georgia State has been a big supporter, and we thank you very much, of Leadercast, not only Leadercast Women, but Leadercast Live, which we have in May. Tell me, because you've been in the business, you have been a part of our sessions, what advice would you give companies in terms of sending their employees as well as other universities? Why would anybody want to come to Leadercast Women?
I would say because, it's immediate application. So you go in there, you're spending a few hours, and you come back with tools to use right away. And for me personally, it's changed the way, one of the tidbits I got from one of the meetings is changing the way I lead a meeting and really focusing on the staff bringing issues and solving problems. So it's brought a lot of creativity and innovation into our meetings. And that was just something that I picked up from one of the sessions. So, in terms of it really making you think about your leadership and what you want to do in your organization and what you want to do personally, just great tools to use.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. We're very excited about our program, and I want to just make sure that our audience knows that on Friday, October 18th at the Cobb Energy Center in Atlanta, Leadercast will be hosting Leadercast Women. And our theme is really around discover the power of taking courage, that it's important that, to your point earlier, Robin, that your voice be heard, because it makes everybody in the room better when we're all collaborating together, and people, by virtue of the fact that you're at the table, want to hear from you. We've got a fantastic lineup. I would say that when the people come to the session, they're going to walk away being a bolder leader in their career and in their life. Really thinking about what I want to do to make me happy, because if you're doing what you like to do, what you love to do, you're going to be happy, and happiness is going to take your career wherever you want it to be. And we've got 9 wonderful women. We have Priya Parker, who is the founder of Thrive Labs and the bestseller author of The Art of Gathering, how we meet and why it matters. We've got Glennon Doyle, a bestseller author and creator of the online Momastery, and is the founder and president of Together Rising, a nonprofit for women and children in crisis. We've got Francesca Gleno. She's a professor at Harvard Business School and the author of Sidetrack, Why Our Decisions Get Derailed and How We Can Stick to the Plan. And that's very important. We have also Deshauna Barber. She is Miss USA for 2016 and the first military woman to win a pageant title. We have Susan Parker. Everybody knows her from HGTV. We have Kendra Scott, American designer of accessories. We have Kate Delaney, who is award-winning national broadcast host for NBC. We have Lovey Ajayi, and she is an award-winning best author, a book called I'm Judging You, the Do Better Manual. She talks about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then finally, Lisa Ling. Everybody knows her as the award-winning journalist and television presenter and author. So we are excited. This is going to be our 3rd time holding the event, over 2,000 women and men being there. We're very excited this year because we do really want women to take courage and to be bolder and to really exercise their leadership skills, because we are naturally equipped. We just wired to do everything, but to understand that we can be courageous in our leadership style. So again, I encourage people, if you're interested in Leadercast, it's kind of the place to be, people. I'm just telling you. You really need to go to our website, leadercast.com. You'll have all the information. And you can reach out to me at pat.hurston@leadercast.com. Thank you so much, Robin, for joining us today. We really enjoyed having you here, and we definitely love partnering with Georgia State University. Is really doing some wonderful things in the executive leadership program, and so we thank you.
Thank you. Enjoyed being here.
We had 10 minutes to spare.